two brothers who have been having these same conversations for 20 plus years. This time we have lights, we have a camera, we have a microphone.
We're here. It's happening.
We're here. My name's Sam.
And I am Jake. And why don't we, even though it's like going to be Mom and Mimi that are watching this.
For sure.
You know, why don't we tell people that's it? Why don't we tell
people? They might not even know who Mimi is. This is our code name.
Yeah. Why don't we tell people a little bit about who we are?
I like it.
In case it's someone that doesn't know us. So I'm Jake, and I am a therapist in the OKC Edmond area. So a licensed professional counselor, married to Maya, and we have baby Mila. I probably should stop saying baby Mila. She's 2.5 now.
She's 2.5.
I should potentially stop saying 2.5. Don't say that.
No.
We're not there yet. But 2.5-year-old Mila, and we live up here in Edmond.
Nice.
And I like sports.
Yeah. I like sports too.
Yeah.
My name's Sam.
That was a good transition over to you.
That was good. Yeah. I just made that bridge really
It was
well.
good.
I just built the bridge and then walked over
It's natural.
Yeah. So my name's Sam. I am married to my wife, Tay. Legally Taylor, but Tay.
Good spec.
We're doing a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
We've been married for 3 years now. Just celebrated 3 years. We do not have a kid, but we do have a dog named Stella. It's probably going to pick up Stella at some point. She is barking.
I have heard Stella.
We're at our home, so
Yes.
she's going to be barking behind our wall at any point. So,
Good.
So there's Stella. She's in this too.
She's a character in this.
She is a character, nonetheless. But I am a pastor, work in the nonprofit world, and we live in Edmond, Oklahoma. We live about 10 minutes away from you.
It's the best.
And also love sports.
Yes. So let's talk about sports.
Let's talk about sports.
That's a big part of what we're going to do. Like Sam had said, we have been having these conversations for years. We're 7 years apart in age, but it was just a really fun thing for me to have a brother come around.
When I had my younger brother being born 7 years after me, being the older brother.
You're taking that up. Good one.
You didn't specify. So
that's true.
I'm the younger brother. I'm the
Good call.
brother.
Thanks because we're very specifics heavy podcast. So thank you for keeping me on track there.
Sorry.
So no, having those conversations over the years. We just love doing this, and so we thought, let's record some and potentially get some friends involved and see what it could be. So I thought that a good way to kind of let people get to know us and also jump into one of these conversations is talk about our favorite teams of all time. So specifically by year, like not just I love the Cincinnati Bengals, which I don't. No idea why that's the first team that you came to. That's the team that came to my mind.
Have plaster all over the wall.
I have Joe Burrow. If you're just listening to the recording, I have the same haircut as Joe Burrow right now.
Not blonde.
But I think that we should do team and year. So very specific.
I like it.
To not just the team in general, but like which players, what season. So. What do you think? Top 5?
I like it. Top 5. Top 5 favorite team and the year.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Who started?
You started.
Do you want to go back and forth? Just one and one?
Yes. And let's start with 5. Let's build some suspense.
Start with 5. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was my bread and butter surprise one. I'm going to flip it. And I'm going to
We can start with 1. Do you want to start with 1? Rock, paper, scissors. You start with 5. You start with 1. I'm start with 5.
Okay. Oh, were you serious? Okay, so what was I?
I don't remember.
Oh no.
So you pick. You start with 1.
Let's start with 5. Then.
Great.
Let's start with 5. I like the suspense. I don't know. All right. So number 5. This is a random one.
I don't know where you're. I don't know where you're gonna go with this. I'm really excited.
You're gonna be really shocked. This is the one I was honestly most excited to tell you. So, it's the 2010 Orlando Magic.
What on earth?
I know. I don't talk about them a lot, but there's a reason for it. So just for context, 2010 Orlando Magic, NBA phenoms, consisted head coach Stan Van Gundy, center all-star Dwight Howard, Jameer Nelson, Mikael Pietrus, and JJ Redick and Hito Turkoglu.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why this is my favorite team is because Dwight was on the cover of NBA Live 10.
He was.
And this team was the most fun team to play with on NBA Live. Jameer Nelson truly, from a 3-point standpoint, on that game, never missed.
Mm-hmm.
He never missed. And Dwight Howard he was an 8-foot giant.
Absolutely.
On that game. So
just back anyone down.
It was unbelievable. It wasn't even a video game. It was a cheat code. So that's my number 5.
What a great one. I remember playing with that team. You could just throw it into Dwight and then you have 4 3-point shooters.
You do.
Around. You could just destroy teams.
Yeah, I didn't watch them ever play in person. Like,
right,
it's
right.
not, I didn't watch them.
The year before, that team did go to the finals. So they were
That's
legit.
right.
They lost to the Lakers. They got swept.
That's right.
They had some success in real life, but they took it to the next level.
Their video game, their team. That's number 5.
Love that.
What about you?
My number 5, pretty obvious one. 1998 Chicago Bulls.
Okay.
So that's when I think there'd be a lot of people who would have this team on their list. But I was 7 years old at that time. You had just been born. I tell the story that I brought this. This is like a full circle brothers moment that I didn't intend to happen. But
really is.
I vividly remember as a 7-year-old, I just turned 7-year-old because you were born a month, or our birthdays are a month apart. Bringing you home from the hospital and holding you on the couch, watching the 98 Chicago Bulls. That would have been March of 98, so the lead up to the playoffs. So
I can't believe I'm not a Bulls fan.
That's just a moment for us. But that team is why I got into basketball. Just the best to have a team at that age. I'm just getting into sports. And then there's just this amazing team, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Ron Harper, Luke Longley, Dennis Rodman.
6.
Championship number 6. So that's my number 5.
That's a great team. That's a great team. Man, that's your number 5.
I know, it only goes up from there.
That's okay. I feel a little insecure about my list. Okay, number 4. This is also another shocker I was excited to tell you about.
Okay.
The 2012 U.S. Men's Soccer Olympic team.
I was not expecting
either of these.
I know. I'm aligned with you for what it's worth. We clearly have a lot of memories together with these teams, so go for it.
Jake and I'm really sounding like a gamer here. I love video games, but I also sounded like this is my life. Jake and I played FIFA with this team. We played with this team a lot.
Even years after, I feel like we
got into FIFA.
Going back to this team.
Yeah. Like 4 years later.
Uh-huh.
So this team, this shows how little I know of my first 2 teams. I don't even know how they ended up in the Olympics. I don't think they did good.
We more so it was World Cup more so.
That's right.
Than Olympics. And they made it out of the same
Did I say Olympics?
I don't remember what you just said Olympics for sure. Your 4th favorite team ever. 2012 Olympics.
Let me go ahead and name the team.
Okay, go for it.
This team. Gosh darn it. It's like a moron. A little podcast on sports, don't even know sports. Okay. The 6 that I wrote down, Josie Altidore was just a striker.
Mm-hmm.
Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley, and goalie Tim Howard.
Great.
Like, that team was so fun to watch.
I don't think the 10 to 12 to 14 whatever matters because that was just that core team.
Yes.
Whatever FIFA game we played during those years,
that was the group.
We went back to that Team USA team, and those guys were the core.
So fun.
Group, yeah.
And I didn't love, like, I'm not like a major soccer head, but I got into soccer watching these guys. Like, this was fun. So
that's great.
All right.
I love the video game. I was not expecting that aspect.
I'm going to drop it for the next 3.
Yeah, I know. My number 4 is an obvious one. The 2021 The Commish Fantasy Football Team.
You're joking.
My fantasy football team from 2021. One of the greatest fantasy football teams of all time.
Unbelievable.
After a 15-year drought of not winning, I got my first championship that year. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Tom, led us to our first championship in the 10 Angry Men Fantasy Football League and the first of 2 consecutive championships. Yeah. So have to put him in there.
What was that? Do you have the team that you
I should have looked it up.
You had Tom.
Tom Brady, Austin Eckler was kind of like a late-ish round. He may have been top at that point, but he just destroyed for me. And I honestly forget the rest of the team that I had. I just remember Tom Brady.
Tom Brady was good.
Was awesome that year.
He was.
And I got him late in the draft, and that was kind of a difference maker. So
yeah.
And 2021, the Commish Fantasy Football Team.
Wow. The Commish. That got me. That really got me. Okay, number 3. I put the 2009 Yankees. the 2009 Yankees.
Great.
Just for context, we have a Yankees pennant up there, and I am a major Alex Rodriguez fan. Yes, I know. Steroid use. Jake is a major Jeter fan. So this is why this team was awesome. They were also World Series champions.
Yes. The last time the Yankees have won it. We're here in 2024, and that was the last time they've even been to the World Series. Yep.
This team was awesome. I wrote down just some highlights of some people. Alex Rodriguez, Yankees all-time legend. Derek Jeter, Mark Teixeira, World Series MVP Hideki Matsui.
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. Johnny Damon and head coach Big Joe Girardi.
What a
solid team. That
was
a good team.
Super fun.
That was to me, that was, in my lifetime, the peak of baseball.
Yeah, that's pretty, because you're 11 years old at that time, too. Yeah. That feels similar to me with those, early, maybe giving some away, but this team isn't on there. That feels similar to some of those Yankees teams, but also the 2001 Lakers for me, Shaq and Kobe. There's something about that age. Yeah. I read that in a book last year. It was a baseball book. I think I had told you about it. This writer had said, there's no better time in sports than when you're 10 years old. Oh, and I think that's so it's true. That we obviously have continued to love sports, but I think a big part of my love from sports comes from how much I loved it at 10 years old. And there's just a nostalgia factor to sports. Yeah. And so I think that's a perfect one for you, where you had your favorite player on your favorite team win the World Series and you're 11 years old.
No question.
That's pretty great.
No question.
Yeah. Right. Similar to me with that age range, the 2004 Oklahoma State Cowboys basketball team.
Whoa.
So this is John Lucas, Tony Allen, Joey Graham, Daniel Bobick, Ivan McFarland. Make it to the Final Four, lose to Jarrett Jacks, Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Jarrett Jacks?
Yes.
No.
I know
Golden
that's
State Warrior legend. The Steph Curry before.
That's right, the pre-Monte and Steph Curry Warriors. When I was doing my rankings, I was just thinking, what teams were I the most passionate about? And this is a team where when they lost, I went out to the garage. Not an anger problem guy, but 13 years old, threw a baseball at the wall. They were still, when we sold that house, still a dent in the wall of me throwing a baseball at the wall.
I remember that
because, you were 7, 6 around this time, but I signed the wall where I did the dent, so there was a little signature there. That was after that 2014 lost in the Final Four, because they only lost 4 games, I think, that year. They were 31-4, had won the Big 12 regular season and Big 12 tournament, kind of flew through the first 3 rounds, and then had a great win against Jameer Nelson. Second Jameer Nelson reference this podcast. But
Jameer Nelson is our next guest on this podcast.
Apparently. If I had to bet on whose name was going to come up twice first, the odds for Jameer Nelson would have been so low, but here we are. He was the point guard, and Delonte West was his shooting guard on that St. Joseph's team, and John Lucas hit a buzzer beater 3, or near buzzer beater 3, to move them into the Final Four. So it was the highs of that, and then the lows of losing in the Final Four.
I know that team made it to the Final Four.
They did. They were 31-4. We went. I don't know if you went to the game. We went down and saw them in Dallas win the Big 12 championship against Texas that year. So I think you were there. You were definitely on the trip. I don't know if you were in the stadium, but you were. At 6. Yeah.
That's a good.
It was. Yeah.
That's a good team.
Yep.
Is that the last time OSU basketball's been in the
Final Four for sure? Yeah.
Wow.
Anywhere near it. Yeah.
Good team.
Thanks.
Good team.
Are you number 2 now?
Number 2.
Okay.
Number 2. I'm worried our number 1's going to be the same. I just have a feeling.
No.
No?
I know based on what you've said so far that we do not have the same number 1.
One of these is going to be identical. Yeah. I just know it.
Maybe.
Okay, but number 2 is 2023 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
2023. You see the stadium behind us. It has to be, and it's for a variety of reasons. 1, they're my team, Kansas City Chiefs. 2, odds were against them. From the start of the season.
I was a hater.
Oh, I loved it. And everyone was a hater, and everyone assumed they were going to have a terrible season for a lot of reasons. People were a little down on Mahomes. The receiving group wasn't supposed to be that good, and it wasn't. Also, their defense wasn't supposed to be that good, but they were electric. I think why I like them that this team specifically over the other two championships they have is
slip that in.
Mahomes, like you got to see the brilliance of Mahomes that whole season
Yeah.
because he made it work with a terrible receiving group.
Yep.
And so like that was just like he's my favorite player. Seeing him just have to kind of make it work. I mean, it was brilliance. So that's it.
I wish I could argue with that one as a Denver Broncos fan. That's one of the few, as I'm sure we'll get into as we go along in this, that's one of the few disagreements we have as far as favorite teams.
Yeah.
Broncos, Chiefs.
Yeah.
And did you like that?
For
the listener, I pointed to the poster. Gosh.
Wow.
Very cool little visual there. But I couldn't deny that last year. I had to.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a big Tom Brady head, but he just is the GOAT to me. And last year was when I had to consider Mahomes is on the path to surpass him.
Yeah.
At this age and what he's done already. So yeah, it was awesome.
It was
and
fun.
we got to see that Chiefs team.
That's a big point too.
Yeah.
That's a big point.
In person.
We got to see that.
That was super fun to go with fam to
Broncos
see him against the Broncos.
Yeah, which was close game.
It was. Thank you for throwing that in there.
Yeah, it was
Russell
a close
Wilson's
game.
Broncos.
You beat us the next time.
Not as close of a game.
Not as close of a game.
And then you won the Super Bowl for the second year in a row, so I don't have a lot of room. Number 2.
Yeah.
This may be the one we have that's the same. I'm not sure. The 2012 Oklahoma City Thunder. Team that made the finals. We've been spoiled as OKC Thunder fans over the years to go from 2008, a bad team coming from Seattle, to pretty instantly 2010 we're in the playoffs, pushing the Lakers to 6 in round 1, to 2012 we're in the finals against LeBron James, Westbrook, Harden, and Durant. Obviously, in 2012, we didn't know what those 3 were going to become. 3 of the top 75 players of all time, 3 MVPs, 3 Hall of Famers. At that time, we knew they were good, not that good, but still, to have those 3 on the same team, to succeed that quickly. And going into the finals, we went to game 1. This is another full circle moment. We went to game 1 of that series, and the Thunder won. So we're up 1-0.
Yeah. Against
LeBron's Heat, who had lost to the Mavs the year before in the finals. Ultimately, the Heat win the next 4 games, and we don't win the finals. But the Thunder are such a big part for both of us. That is a top 2 team for me. As far as top 1 in NBA, obviously, but as far as just my favorite team, probably number 1, honestly, at this point in my life. As far as if I could pick any team to win a championship, I would pick the Thunder over any other team. Yeah. So we've just had so many good teams, but that's the one. As much as I wish I could say like later on 2016 or the Shea teams, there's room for that to be surpassed with this current team.
There's room.
But as much as I've loved all these other iterations, it didn't get much better than that 2012 run and our first taste of getting that close. True. So that's my number 2. Yeah.
Well, I think it's just only right that I say that that's my number 1.
Yeah.
So
I figured that maybe.
And everything you said, like I there's not much I'd add on. The only thing I would say to that is what I liked so much about that team versus like a similar team in obviously Harden and everything that happened, but even thinking about when Harden left to Houston and you still have the Durant Westbrook growing in their career, getting better, it always felt from the years after 2012, like, man, are they going to like break apart? Like, when's the end going to be? Whereas like 2012, it was the beginning. So there was zero room for question. It was all like, we're too early to be here.
Yeah.
So we're going to have years of this. So it's like, almost could be more in the moment and less like sitting there like tense watching like, oh man, this is the last time we're going to see all of them together, which has kind of been how it's felt for a decade until now. It's like this year is kind of that same feeling of 2012 where it's like, we're too early, but we're here. So yeah, that's number 1. I agree with you. I don't want any team to win a championship more than the Thunder. So maybe this is the year.
Man, there's some foreshadowing there.
I know.
I saw an article yesterday. I don't know how it was on ESPN. I don't know how they did their math, but they have some complicated system about to determine who will likely have the most wins in the NBA, and the Thunder were number 1. So there's reason to be optimistic about this year. It's not, it's wild to be here this quickly, but it's not out of the question for us to say that this could be the year, which is really something. My number 1, it's really close. These can interchange, but I went with the 98 Yankees.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, that has to be it. There's an emotional tie to it. So Dad got me a 98 Yankees book last year. Nice. And I just looked the other day. He wrote in the front page of it just a little bit about, like, Jake, this is really when you got into sports. And this was May of last year.
Oh, my gosh.
And so, yeah, I had already kind of been thinking that was the team. And then I just been reminded of that here in the past couple of weeks. And watching that with him and just really getting into baseball during that time. And Jeter and Westbrook are probably my favorite athletes ever.
Totally.
I think when it comes down to it, and they're 1A and 1B for me. And so that's probably why these teams are 1A, are a big part of that. But I think back to the Bulls, I think back to the Lakers, all of these times, and the most core, like, early childhood, that 10-year-old is the best time ever is watching.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were what, like 7, 8 years old?
7 or 8,
Prime.
yeah. I would have been 7 that October, turning 8 in a couple months. Watching Jeter and those Yankees, I could still name the whole Jorge Posada, Tino Martinez,
Bernie Williams
at center field, Paul O'Neill. Who was it? Chuck Knobloch, Jeter, Scott Brocious. Left field was always a problem. Shane Spencer, Chad Curtis. And then you said Bernie.
Did you say Rivera?
Rivera was a closer.
Sandman?
David Cohn, David Wells, Andy Pettit. So that team was just awesome.
And, like, that was probably the era where Metallica, Enter Sandman started rocking when Mariano Rivera would walk in.
It's the coolest thing, which we got to see in person in New York once, by the way. And in Texas, they didn't play Enter Sandman. We got to see Rivera a couple times.
And they won,
which was pretty cool.
They won the World Series that year, right?
Yes.
98?
Yes,
98.
That's
a good year for sports. Yankees,
man.
Bulls.
Broncos.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I have...
I was born, too. So
It was.
I'm the lucky charm.
Well, it's a really good transition. We're crushing the transitions in our first episode.
We didn't plan that either.
Absolutely. Like, we're pros at this.
Episode 1.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Last night, the night before our recording today, Aaron Judge, who we mutually love, hit his 144th RBI of the season.
That's crazy.
It's a lot of RBIs. That's the most since 2008. So over the course of the last 15 years, no one has hit 16. No one has hit that many in a season. But wow. I know it's
either he's really good or there's just not been much talent.
I know. I was thinking about chatting about that a little bit as we were discussing this question, because I couldn't figure out why that was. So let's explore that as we're going into this, because that was
let's unpack it.
I'm a therapist. That's what I said. Gosh, I said let's explore that.
You said it.
You gotta call me out like you always do when I say that.
That needs to be one of our lists that we keep track of.
How many times I use therapist language?
Let's explore that. Let's unpack that, or let's dive in.
The tension that we may feel with that if I use the word tension.
So we're at 1.
We got 1.
Yeah.
Tracker. No one has hit that many since 2008. Between 1998, the year you were born, and 2008, 14 players did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Royd era. So 98 to 2002, it was popping off.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you that. So part of what we're going to do with this podcast is talk about some favorites or do our own list like we just did. But also we're going to put together some of our own research to make some fun questions where you can listen to us chat about this and maybe learn something new, or be able to view a statistic in a new way. Yeah. And so I think that's kind of what this one is, especially with it being relevant to Judge last night. So I want you to try to guess these. Okay. I put this together this morning, and I want you to try to guess or see how many of the 14 players between 1998 and 2008 hit more than 144 RBIs in a season.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not count. There were a couple more that hit Vinny Castilla did not make the list.
Because he made 144.
Because he did 144.
Well, I was thinking that. I wasn't going to guess him.
So no Vinny Castilla, but there are 14 others. A couple guys did it twice.
Okay.
But it's 14 total players.
So these are unique individuals. So like this isn't...
It happened 17 times over that, but 14 individual players.
All right. 14.
Yes.
I instantly have a few that come to my mind.
Okay.
First, has to be Barry Bonds.
Is not Barry Bonds. I love that you started with that. It blew my mind as I was doing this list. Peak Barry Bonds, he never hit more than 137 RBIs in a season.
So was he just cranking solo home runs?
That year hit 73 home runs, only 137 RBIs.
No.
Isn't that wild?
Okay.
I thought that was the most no-brainer one. I looked over the list multiple times thinking, where am I missing Barry Bonds?
Yeah.
Then I went to his page to realize 137 was the most he ever had.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This time frame's a little unique because I know some players in the 90s, but I think they aged out probably. So I'm going to start with a couple. This might be way too late, but Mark McGwire.
Yep. He did it twice.
Okay.
97 and 98.
Okay, if you do Mark
98,
McGwire.
99, I'm sorry. Hit 147 both times.
Okay.
Consistency.
Cardinals flag. Start out with the Cardinal. Yeah. If you have to do Mark McGwire, you got to do Sammy Sosa.
He's one of the others that did it twice.
Yeah.
In 01 and 98.
Corked up the bat.
I was going to... So let's use that good transition again to note that well, I don't want to tell you that. Many of these were steroid or guys, or it surrounded them, or they're not in the Hall of Fame because people think that they...
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are a number that aren't. So they're not all steroid guys, but it is a point within this that I want to make about how good Aaron Judge is.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. You have two of the guys that have already done it.
It's a great point, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So said Mark McGwire, said Sammy Sosa, King Griffey Jr.
Yep. He did it in 98 and it did it at 97. I didn't count that, but that's a guy. I'll call him out when it happens. That's a guy like Judge. Clean. One of the greatest hitters of that era.
Great. Yeah.
So respect to King Griffey Jr.
Totally. I am going to go your boy, Derek Jeter.
No.
Derek Jeter's not on there. These are power hitters.
Hitters, yeah.
Gotta be.
Jeter, I think he only got over 100 a couple times. I think he got to like one, I forget the most he had, but I don't know if he had over 110 ever.
Let's do some kind of newer age people a little bit. Let's go Philly bomber Ryan Howard.
I wondered if you were going to get that one.
For sure.
Twice. And he's the one that did it in 2008. He was the last one before Judge.
This guy might be a little too new, but I'm going to stick with that kind of era, Prince Fielder.
Ooh, he did not.
He didn't make, he's a little later. Later.
Howard's the most recent one.
Okay.
Yeah. You know most of these other guys. You're crossing them off quickly here.
Let's do Mark Teixeira.
Nope.
Mark Teixeira's not on there.
He is not.
Okay, well, if this is following that vein, let's do Jason Giambi.
No, that's another good one.
Giambi's not on there?
He crushed in the early 2000s.
Was roiding it up.
You want to talk about a video game guy that you could just... I think I hit... I played... baseball video games were a problem for me in the summer. Even before... Even when you were like too little to play video... Obviously, we played them a lot, but like when I was 10 and you were like 2 years old and weren't playing... Man, I put in hours. And so I almost did full seasons. And with Giambi, I hit like 112 home runs. And like, I would hit like 4 a game. And like a 49 game season, I just spit.
And the record,
I passed a record like 30 games into the season.
Such a video game stuff.
That game was absurd. But no Giambi.
Okay. Albert Pujols?
Another one I was surprised was not on the list.
What?
He never did. I didn't look at his highest, but never over 144.
On this list.
These again are reasons to appreciate Aaron Judge. These guys you're naming have never had more RBIs in a season than Aaron Judge did this year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Okay, I'm gonna go. This is another one of your boys. Pudge Ivan Rodriguez.
Close. Stay in that same vein, but Pudge never did it. But do you remember any other Rangers around the Pudge era?
It wouldn't be.
This guy may have been ahead of your time. But there's a couple.
Would be Rafael Palmeiro.
Yes. Palmeiro did it once.
Okay.
And there's another Ranger.
Okay, so it's a little bit ahead of the time. Just give me that one.
Yeah, I think Juan Gonzalez was a bit ahead of your time and was one of those guys kind of like Alfonso Soriano where like it seemed like he disappeared right in the midst of his prime. Yeah. And that may not be true. It may just be my experience with him, but he was a guy that like crushed and then unfortunately steroids were surrounding him even though so he's not in the Hall of Fame, but he was really good. So
he was good.
Juan Gonzalez. So I will say you're missing just the easiest softball of all time for you.
It's not Alex Rodriguez.
Yes.
I guessed Alex Rodriguez.
You had it, or else I missed it.
No.
The record may show that you said it, but A-Rod hit 156 in 2007.
So how many more do we have?
Oh, I thought you were making a Jeter joke right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're halfway there. I'm going to give you a couple that you're not going to get. Okay. I don't think you would have gotten Albert Bell.
No.
But he is a guy that deserves respect here. Okay. He had 152 in 1998 clean. He's a guy that people talk about. He was just fueled by anger. He was just an angry man is what people said and what he said about himself. And so he was clean of steroids. And I think as a guy that just gets wrapped up in that era, I had to look it up. I thought he was a steroid guy. Not. But he was hitting home runs and putting up these numbers in the midst of the steroid era. But he was clean. So shout out Albert Bell.
Shout out Albert Bell.
Yeah.
And then just getting in fights and just
anger issues. I'm going to give you the teams, unless you want to
give me the teams. Give me the teams.
Boston Red Sox, there's 2.
David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez.
Boom, boom. Okay, roids. All right. Oakland A's, I think at the time, though, when he did this, he was on the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh.
Steroids.
I already said Palmeiro.
You did. This was a shortstop. I didn't like him.
Ricky Henderson.
No. Ricky may have done it in the years before 98. Yeah. I didn't look at that. But no, this was a shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles.
Cal Ripken? No.
He may have earlier, too.
You mean initials?
MT.
MT.
So he was in the Jeter, A-Rod, Nomar. He was kind of like a fourth guy during all that when he was with the A's and then the Orioles. You remember this guy?
Think of this.
He crushed this year probably because of steroids.
Just say it.
Miguel Tejada.
Oh, Miguel Tejada.
Kind of wild that he was in that.
I have some cards of him.
You liked him, but that's a name that just probably because of steroids has disappeared.
Totally has.
Yeah.
Totally has.
Okay, a Hall of Fame inductee this summer, Colorado Rocky.
Oh my goodness. Was he big dude?
No, not Larry Walker.
Jim Thome wouldn't be on this list either.
He should be, but he's not. Good call. No, Jim Thome. This guy, TH.
Todd Helton?
Yes, Todd Helton. Respect. Did it twice.
Todd
was on the list twice.
Todd Helton Hotels. That's crazy.
Todd, classic nickname.
He had a burly mustache, didn't he?
Maybe. You might be thinking of Randy Johnson or Larry Walker. I think Todd Helton was pretty clean shaven.
Okay.
But he did it twice. Another respect the clean ball.
Man.
All right. 2 more. One, a Seattle Mariner who's not Ichiro or Griffey or A-Rod.
No, he wouldn't have been on there.
Would have been 2000. I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Not Adrian Beltre.
No, but I'm surprised he's not on there. This guy was a DH.
Judge is so good.
Yeah, I know.
DH on the Mariners.
Mm-hmm.
What?
There are some early 2000s people older than you screaming at their podcast right now, potentially.
Well, I'm sorry.
On this one,
people.
But it's not. It's also not an easy one. So that was mixed messaging. EM.
EM. Oh man.
You may not know this one.
Man, I don't know.
Edgar Martinez.
I almost said that name. I'm not even kidding you. I almost said that name, but I don't have a face for it. But that name is imprinted.
Oh yeah.
No one believes me.
Well,
the Mariners fans are going, that is.
I believe you because he was one that we did. Sam and I used to do batting stances. We just stare at each other doing this.
That's what we do with our
stances. Time. That's how we spend our time.
Someone played on the dirt.
Someone would do this, and the other person would go Ken Griffey Jr.
Yep.
And Edgar Martinez was one that I would do because he kind of had like a little bit of a little Euclid, a little tamer Euclid situation.
Could you next episode is
Kevin Euclid episode? We stand here and we do stances.
No, I like Kevin Euclid. I like that idea.
We'll get Euc on here. All right, last one is a backyard baseball hero. This is a guy, not Albert Pujols' Angel Food Cake, but a guy that was available on one of the greatest video games of all time, Backyard Baseball.
Well, he was oh man.
So we can think through our because we put in hours on this game on the PS2.
We did. We had Albert Pujols.
Yeah.
You had Jeter.
Yeah.
Jeter was on there.
Right. A-Rod was on there.
A-Rod was on there.
Yeah.
Oh man, give me a team. Give me
Toronto Blue Jays, and he was the only Blue Jay.
It was not Vlad.
No. I'm surprised Vlad's not on here, though.
It wasn't Vlad Guerrero.
You're throwing out all these guys that Aaron Judge is better than. It's wild.
He was on the Blue Jays.
First baseman on the Blue Jays.
Oh, man.
You may have...
I'm blanking.
They've had so many power hitters over the years, too, that I forget about. I don't think I would have gotten this one either.
Give me initials. One last
CD.
CD Lamb.
CD Lamb.
Davis?
No.
Is it something Davis? No. I don't know, but it's going to be so...
Yeah, you're going to know it.
Frustrating.
Carlos Delgado.
Gosh darn it.
Gosh
darn it.
I
he
love
was
that guy.
Such a good player on Backyard Baseball.
Yeah, he crushed.
Oh, man.
Good stuff.
It's a great list.
There we go.
Judge is so good.
The point being exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, clean, playing in an era clearly where RBIs aren't hit to the level that they were, especially in this era, but ever. Hasn't happened since Ryan Howard the 10th in 2008. And he's put up 144 and counting. He has 3 more games to do more than that. 58 home runs this year. What a stud. Like, that guy really is unbelievable.
He is. And arguably, like, one of the coolest fan responses, like the all rise for the Judge. So, like, yeah, chills.
Good for baseball. When the Yankees are good, it's good for baseball.
I love it. We
have a final piece of information to do.
Yep.
Final information. I'll do better on that next time.
I like that. Our transitions were good up until that.
I blew it.
What do we got for our next thing?
We have our final segment, the Wellington Winner of the Week. Let me describe what I mean when I say the Wellington Winner of the Week. December 2023, Sam, myself, and our dad, Dave O'Bannon, took a drive up to Wellington, Kansas. Why did we go to Wellington, Kansas? Because secretly, that day, the 3 of us were sports gamblers.
Sure.
You cannot do that in the state of Oklahoma, but once you cross the line into Kansas, it is legal to bet on sports. Right. So we decided we're going to do a road trip. We're going to the first place we could go to across
one of the
state line,
metros in Kansas.
Wellington, Kansas, specifically Penny's Diner.
Penny's.
We had breakfast.
Shout out Penny's Diner.
For real, though. I have my mug.
We have a mug. Why didn't we?
We do. We'll next time. And it says Wellington on it.
Yeah, man.
We went that morning. We drove out to Wellington, Kansas, and we sat there for 2 hours, and we made bets on the NFL playoffs. And some of them did not work out very well.
No, they did not.
One of them, which is why we're calling this the Wellington Winner of the Week, did work out.
Yes. And so, Wellington Winner, and I'm happy to say that a part of the winner for that was one of the teams that was on our top 5.
Another reason why they deserve to be on your
list.
This
is good. So, it was my bet that we did. And so this year, like, to speed up the story that I'm taking forever on.
I think I spent 10 minutes setting up the segment.
No, you did it. The bet was Patrick Mahomes to win Super Bowl MVP. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the line. But the line
was significant.
It was huge because they were, at that point before the playoffs started, Chiefs weren't supposed to make it to the Super Bowl.
They had recently lost to the Raiders.
Yeah.
This was before they were in the wild card, or did they win their division? Regardless, what you're saying is true. The odds were huge.
Yeah.
Or like you got big odds because no one thought that they were going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And you not only bet that they would make it to the Super Bowl, but you specifically bet
Patrick Mahomes would win Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
So the line was crazy, and I think I put down $50.
33 because we did 3 different.
Yeah. 33, and what I ended up winning, because Patrick Mahomes did go to the Super Bowl, he did win Super Bowl MVP, was over like $500.
Yeah.
It was over $500.
It was a $500 plus win.
So that was my first bet on sports, and will continually, for Patrick Mahomes, while he's in the NFL, will be my sports bet every year.
We do need to go to Wellington again in December. Make that happen.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you want to start? You want me to start, or do you want to start?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My Wellington winner of the week is, which this is why I said their name earlier, the Cincinnati Bengals. It all is coming full circle.
You're a Bengals fan.
I love the Bengals.
Yeah.
Third reference to them today, because I said the haircut thing too. The Cincinnati Bengals to win over the Carolina Panthers by their -4.5. So they're going to win. The Panthers are not going to do what they did last week again. The Bengals are 0-3. They looked great. I got the Bengals winning by at least 5 against the Panthers in Carolina.
I like that. Huge Bengals fan. I see that. Okay, my Wellington winner of the week. Sooner fans, sorry in advance, but Auburn, and this is shifting to college football, Auburn has a -1.5 line over the Sooners. I unfortunately agree with that line. I don't have a strong belief in the Sooners right now.
We may be a little biased.
We are. Go Pokes.
Let's note.
I've got Auburn beating Oklahoma, Sooner Nation, by 2 or more points.
There you go.
2 or more points.
There's 2 winners for you right there. So part of what we're going to do is keep track of those each week so we kind of can have a record of how we do. But if you're a gambling person, we don't promote it, I suppose. But those are our picks for this weekend.
So go ahead. I mean, we're experts here, as you can tell. But I think that's it. I think that's it for the podcast. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking the time. If you've journeyed with us, and all of our, we've gone up and down in a lot of things. But we're going to be on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube. Go ahead and comment your 5 favorite teams when you think about it. You heard our 5. We need to hear your 5. Also, shout out my beautiful wifey, Tay, the creative director. She's the woman behind the camera right now, set everything up. Mm-hmm. So shout out, Tay.
Shout out.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you here soon.